More specifically, in this conversation, it's not just a matter of what can churches learn from new churches, but what can established churches learn about new churches. So for those of you who are part of an established church, I want to say, here's some things we learned. For those of you who are part of a church planting system, I want to remind you and urge you to make sure you maintain bridges to those who sent you, to those who can learn from your mistakes. That's a valuable thing that we are offering to the kingdom. This is about the kingdom of Christ, and our intention is to do all this together so that we're learning along the way. You are the safe place for others to be honest with their stories, to find somebody to help them carry the burden. That's your job. That's our job, is to simply love on people wherever we are at. God's stuff doesn't happen within the confines of a church building. That's a great celebration place. For us, it's a Grange Hall. But it's what happens outside there. The task is for us to assume that I'm in my neighborhood for a purpose, that it causes me to look at my neighbors differently and wonder, how can I bless them? Speak the language of first-timers. You notice, let me interrupt myself to say, you notice I didn't say visitors? A visitor, if you keep using that language itself, that simply says you don't really belong here. But we're glad you're here. To all of our visitors, we welcome you. And they're immediately isolated. We call those folks first-timers because there the assumption is they're going to be second-timers. There's a beautiful conversation that I've had with several people is, you know, I've sort of been treating you like company, but I think I'm done with that. You mind? Jessica's experience at Rochester. She said, we expect all the mission work to be done by those that are coming into our community. We're the missionaries. We need to speak the language of first-timers. Sometimes we don't necessarily speak insider language. Honestly, Brenda recently referred to this about how we've got to live candidly and honestly in a straightforward way. We got to help out with a tragic funeral service. Renovatus provided snacks at a big funeral for somebody who was killed in our neighborhood, a friend of a friend. As we were cleaning up afterwards, Phoebe and I, one of the new Christians from our church, were hauling stuff out and somebody calls my name and I turn around. There's a young lady who was a visitor in my youth group probably 10 years earlier. We're swapping stories and catching up. She says, so are you still in youth ministry? I said, oh no. I've started a church at the Grange Hall on the east side. She says, oh, that's interesting. Tell me about it. And I drew a breath to tell her, and I thought, wait, Phoebe, what's our church like? And Phoebe thinks for only a second. She says, honest. I said, we go to the Honest Church of Christ. We're doing life at a level where authenticity is the trump card of our culture. And so we have people that show up in pajamas because that's real life for them. And we have people that show up late. We do church on Sunday night, and our non-Christian members said, finally a church that gets me. Well, some of them are pretty hungover on Sunday morning. We're doing life honestly, with a level of integrity that's really hard. The pain that Brenda described, that really should have disqualified us from doing church planning. We really had too much awful going on, and it was really bad timing, but there was this assumption that God was in charge. And so we marched ahead, and God revealed himself. That's caused us to redefine community. The reality is Ryan's church that never started was doing things backwards. With Renovatus, we created church, and out of that we wanted to flow community. Ryan said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to create community. and out of community allow church to flow. And at first I was a little offended by that because I felt like I did it wrong. But then I thought, no, he's speaking more to the community that he's stepping into. And grassroots conspiracy no longer exists with a capital G and a capital C. But you know what's gone on in downtown Vancouver? Because of how Ryan and Jessica carried their lives, there continues to be a level of care and concern that I believe is the presence of God. And grassroots conspiracy continues on as a grassroots conspiracy.